Moved the ball in the second half, just concerns. But nothing major. The biggest thing that I thought, just looking over the stat sheet, it felt like it in the box was that we had a bunch of penalties and constantly felt ourselves and were behind the sticks, and it's hard to call a game like that. So, when it's long yardage like that, and they're very, very good. We talked about it all week long. K-State's very good in those long yardage situations of creating turnovers, and we didn't want to do that, especially the way our defense is playing. So if we just held on to the football, which we did, then we'd give ourselves a chance to win the football game, and that was the outcome. So first half is Cowboy football. That's what we wanted to do. So we definitely want to do more. We want to tie that into the second half somewhere along the way. Got to talk to our guys about just controlling things in the second half with penalties. Again, that was the biggest issue probably in the back half.
Kasey, you had
Tamar today in his return.
Pardon?
What did you see from Tamar today in his return?
Production. It was good. He was great. He practiced well all week long. He had a good test. We gave him a test before the game, and he was lights out with it and had a great attitude all week long and had a great attitude coming into today. And, it showed up. So he made some big plays.
Kasey, did you kind of feel like a kid in a candy store that with all the options you had back at receiver and running back? And
there's no hiding that. It just felt so much better, to have some depth out there and have some guys running around that, have been repping with Spencer for so long. We talk about all the time, just the time that they spend over the summer pitching and catching and spring ball and all this and timing. And then all of a sudden it's there's a new guy here and a young guy there and somebody like, who's that? And that's what it was for a little bit. So to get those guys back today and have a little bit of, consistency, continuity, timing again for Spencer was big. It was huge.
What was it like for you to see Jalen Warren have yet another game where he was so active and really doing everything he can to get those extra yards out there?
I love it. It's fantastic, isn't it? I think, he had to go in and get freshened up at halftime, something like that. I don't know, somewhere in there, but we lost the third quarter. But he just runs hard, you see the guy work up a lather in pregame warm-ups, and it's like, hey man, the game hasn't started yet, and he's already sweating like he's played 4 quarters. So, but he's like that all the time. There's no question he puts in the most effort and energy in practice of everyone out on the field. So to see him do the things that he's done on game day really is no surprise.
Obviously, we knew about the playmaking ability of Presley, but last week, the big hit, this week at the goal line, 2 big hits to fight his way in. Where's that from? Considering how small he is.
Yeah, I walked into the locker room. He's flexing. It was pretty funny. He's a tough kid. He's tough as nails, and you saw him get smoked last week. And that kid's a big old kid from Boise, and he gets up, he's a little woozy, whatever. He's kind of whoa, man, knocked him around a little bit, but he got back in and started playing football again. And that's the kind of kid he is. That's the kind of family that brought him up. They're just hard-nosed people, blue-collar people. And for him to come out there and make that play at that time for us and not make us line up again was fantastic. It was huge, and exciting for me to see him bounce back from some of the collisions he took last week, deliver a couple, and then get himself into the end zone. Special player.
Kasey, 2 more for Coach.
Kasey, I know that you obviously didn't want to have all those receivers out last week, but the fact that you guys had to hone in on the run game and figure out what would work with the blocking, with the backs, is that maybe a silver lining moving forward? What we saw tonight with the mix of the 2 in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. So, we threw the ball pretty well in the first game of the year, moved it around. We had the receivers out there, we went back to, handing that thing off a little bit with some of the injuries that we'd sustained. But, today getting kind of the pieces back in place was really, really nice to have. And I think, you're going to see us move forward with that. So, really, again, I think the thing in the second half for us, we just got to get control of it and go back to it again. I'm not trying to script the question or anything like that. No. It's just to handle the penalties. When you have that and you get behind the sticks, it's just, you force your quarterback into situations you don't want to. And it's hard to turn around and hand the ball off on 2nd down and 22, and expect to get 20 yards out of it, So it's kind of a weird situation that you're in calling it. But I thought our kids handled it well. And like I said, we took care of the football in the second half. And again, our defense is playing well, so we had that luxury.
You played Blaine in the slot. Was that always a part of the plan, or kind of what went into that?
No, tonight it's absolutely where we wanted to play him. He's going to be dynamic in there. He looks good. He's exactly what you're looking for from that big wide position. Goes back to the Tracy Moores that we had earlier in the decade. And he looks good, and I'm excited to see him running around out there. And he's got twitch of an outside receiver, but he's big like an inside guy, and so I'm excited to see what the tape looks like for him.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
Okay.